Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here. Today we're going to be talking about our Commander Mastery Series guide on Tomyris. Tomyris is growing on me, guys. I'm not going to lie. So let me explain my thought process behind this and maybe a little bit of an explanation behind my bias. Archers pretty much used to suck. if we're being perfectly candid, right? Up until maybe Ramses came out, archers were pretty much kind of the afterthought of Rise of Kingdoms. Even when Edward and Tomyris came out, for the most part, they were looked at as a novelty, and including me, especially Edward. You know, Edward, with the higher rage requirement that Edward has, he's really only useful for one thing, and paired up with, in my opinion, either Tomyris or YSG. So very limited, very niche, and with the advent of Attila Takeda, Edward's main use, which was rallies, for the longest time, got, subtly nerfed. So now that we've gotten commanders out there that have taken out Attila Takeda as a definite option to rally, and you're starting to see Edward Tomyris again, and Edward YSG, and Tomyris with Ramses and things like that, I wanted to take a revisit on some of these archer commanders and have an open mind, because every time I've looked at these commanders, they've been, oh, that's okay, that skill's kind of cool, but they're an archer. But they're an archer commander, so who cares? That's kind of been the thing. So I wanted to look at it with an open mind without any bias on my end, because, again, I'm an infantry guy and a cav guy through and through. So, I mean, I've never had the need or want or desire to look at these archer commanders, with the exception of, like, Ramses is really good, and Artemisia has grown on me a lot, too. And then these two new ones, I'm still up in the air about how I feel about them. But Tomyris. Let's talk about Tomyris. This is the Commander Mastery Guide for Tomyris. As I looked at her skills, and being the player that I am, again, infantry and cav focused, depending on what the situation is, and you'll see that in the passes opening up in the KBK that we're in, she's very universal. And I gotta say, equally as universal as YSG. And YSG is my first max. That's the commander I tell everybody. You have to max YSG. If you're going to max any legendary commander, it needs to be YSG. That's been my tried and true thought process, and that hasn't changed. I'm not changing anything, but the reason is because all these skills are really, really good, and on top of that, they're all universal, with the exception of the second half, of this second skill. For the next 3 seconds, all archer units led by this commander gain 100% increased attack. So this is only applicable to archers in a march. So if you have Charles YSG, for instance, this 100% for the next 3 seconds doesn't apply. Okay? But everything else does. So the 100 rage, 10% chance to get 100 extra rage, that applies. The garrison stuff applies. The 50% skill damage applies. And certainly the 5 AoE in a circular shape applies. So he's a universal commander that you can be used with basically any type of troop. And as I was looking at Tomyris, not Leonidas, but Tomyris, I tried to have that same open mind, and I was looking through the skills, and sure enough, Arrow of Vengeance, not troop specific. Payback, not troop specific, even though it is attacking cities. So this is a conquering skill. This is not an open field skill, guys. Okay. When attacking cities, troops led by this commander gain 15% increased attack. All right. 30% when maxed, which is not that big of a deal. But this one, okay, so archer units led by this commander gain 15% increased attack up to 30. All attacks have a 10% chance to decrease the target's defense by 15% up to 30% for 3 seconds. The defense reduction should work without archers, because it's not an archer bonus. It's a debuff. And it doesn't say while the army is only filled by archers, just like, say, This one, 300 Spartans with Leonidas. When troops led by this commander consist only of infantry units, it doesn't say that. It says the first part here is an attack bonus for archers, and then the second part is all attacks have a 10% chance to decrease the target's defense by 30%, which is huge. That's a huge debuff. That's basically Lu Bu's first skill, right? I think. I'm all over the place with this Commander Mastery guide, but it's so good. 40%. So almost. It's almost a primary skill. It is almost a primary skill for a legendary commander that, let's be honest, it's kind of garbage, but you get my idea. The third skill's pretty good. Pretty darn good. By itself. Doesn't have to have the attack. The attack's nice, though, but you don't have to have it. The point I'm getting at with this fourth skill as well being the 100% chance to do the poison stacking, and that's really where Tomyris starts to shine, and giving that 40+% skill damage taken reduction, or damage taken increase on the target. That's huge. That's so huge. That is so huge. Unbelievable skill damage. And then when you've got the expertise, troops led by this commander gain 10% increased attack and increased counterattack. When attack troops reduces the attack of cav units by 10% as well. So all these things, looking at them again from a bird's eye view, from an unbiased perspective, lead me to believe that Tomyris is actually one of those commanders that you need to max. Certainly if you're an archer player, which are becoming more prevalent now, right? With the advent of the newer commanders. But even if you're an infantry player, or certainly if you're a cav player, the whole point of being a cav player is to have 5 cav marches. Just target something down and watch it explode with skill damage. Well, Tomyris will help that happen quicker. The cool thing about Tomyris too, her primary skill is the damage portion. Her primary skill is the damage portion of the poison stuff. But the fourth skill actually starts right away. It doesn't matter if she's primary or secondary. So, with that in mind, she can be secondary to any infantry or cav commander and be very effective on the battlefield by debuffing not only the 30% defense reduction, but also the skill damage that they take, increasing the extra skill damage that target takes, stacking continuously until it gets, again, I've seen it as high as 42, 43 points. It's pretty, I've seen it higher than that, but I think it's multiple Tomyrises. I don't know. I don't know if those things stack. We need to test that out, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But this is a thing. This is a thing, guys. You can put this behind a Richard and have basically a Richard debuffing march that stays alive forever, and the only thing you're losing is this 30% archer attack, which again is nice to have, but it's not the end of the world. This is universal. This is universal. This is universal. And this is universal. So I gotta tell you, I'm gonna max Tomyris. I'm gonna max her. And in fact, I'm gonna use her. I'm gonna max her and use her. And again, this is even more valuable because of the newer garrison commanders like YSS, Theodora, Zenobia, even Wu to a certain extent. Wu's built to be against Tomyris. But when you have like a Zenobia Wu, or if you've got a Zenobia Theodora, removing the debuffs of Tomyris is a big deal. So if you don't have Theodora in that garrison, Tomyris is very valuable, especially if it's in, say, Arc, where you can debuff the target and have a heavy swarm of skill damage with debuffs like Ramses and things like that. Really take down a structure. So this is why I kind of restarted looking at Tomyris, and I gotta say I missed the early boat on Tomyris. I'll admit it. And again, self-bias. This is one of those situations where systemic bias actually is a thing. This was my fault. And I let you guys down. I apologize, but Tomyris is, in my opinion, if you are a skill damage focused commander or player, so even infantry nowadays, right, guys? I mean, you've got Guan, you've got Alex, you've got Harold. Those are all very heavy skill damage focused infantry commanders. And then you're pairing them up with other commanders like Leonidas that also do skill damage. Infantry is not just your super tanky normal damage, normal attack damage, counterattack damage troops anymore. You're looking at some skill damage coming out from infantry, and if you can throw a Tomyris behind a Richard or a Charles, even Charles would be great too, and Alex would be almost as good, if not better. Quan would be really good with Tomyris. Can you believe it? I'm gonna try them all out, but I'm gonna max her. And maybe I'll turn this into a maxing video instead of, I'm gonna turn this into a maxing video instead of a commander mastery guide, because this is all over the place. I started out being like mastery guide, and this has turned into a why the crap you should max Tomyris in the first place. We've already gone through the skills. I'll save the talent build that I've got, and it's on my Discord if you guys really want to see it. But I'll save the talent build for the actual Commander Mastery Guide that I will post tomorrow morning. We're going to turn this into a maxing video because honestly, this is not a mastery guide. It went all over the place. But I hope you guys are understanding the thought process and the rabbit hole that I went down to get to this point. Because I really want to max Theodora and Zenobia. I really want to max Harold, which is 551 on this account. I really want to max Mulan, but I've gotten really lucky with her skills. Everything else is pretty much maxed, though. I didn't max Leo on my main. I've got him at 5511, and honestly, some subtle feedback on Leo. I'm okay with him at 5511. He's just not there. I had some high hopes for him, but unfortunately, no. And I still do need to max Constantine. He's 5523. He's very close, but we have his MGE coming up, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'll try and win at least one of those MGEs so that I can max him out and get him set up and don't have to use universals. Same thing could be said for Tomyris, but I want to use her now. So, with that being said, let's do it. We're going to go ahead and max Tomyris. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have talked myself into maxing Tomyris. She's just so good. She's just so good. Give me 5. Let's do it. And really, the fourth skill, if you happen to get that to 5 first, it's of course, as I say that, watch me do it. You may be able to get away with not maxing her. Oh my goodness, are you serious? I would have never got this to happen. Okay. I don't need the second skill. I mean, if I'm attacking a city in KVK2, yes, that's not bad. But after KVK2, it's basically pointless. Now it's going to start rounding out. This is nice. That defense reduction is really nice. It's really nice. It's basically Lubu's first skill. 30 instead of 40, but still, I mean, there it is. Wow. Here's the question. Do I max? I mean, I've got what I need, right? Troops led by this commander gain 10% increased attack, 10% increased counterattack. Reduces the attack of cav units and attacking troops by 10%. That's nice. That's nice. So really, I'm losing if I don't max. If I don't max, it's 20% increased attack. Actually, well, if I'm with archers, it's 20%. If I'm with anything but archers, then it's only 10% still. See, this is the question. If you just want the debuff, I'm set. I'm set. I don't need anything else. If you just want the debuff, this is perfectly fine. Question is that what I want to do? Archer units led by this commander gain 20% increased attack. 20% instead of 30%. The defense decrease. And again, if I'm not attacking a city, this doesn't matter. You know what? If I was a normal player, when I say normal player, I mean if I wasn't making content for you guys and doing testing and things like that, I actually would probably leave it here. That's my first thought. Leave it here. It's fine. It's good enough for government work. However, I'm going to be doing testing with Tomyris for you guys using non-archer commander combinations because I think that she's really valuable as a secondary to infantry and cav. I just think she is. So for the sake of that, because we're talking an extra 300 and some universal sculptures is what we're talking here. Literally, I got lucky. 5335. You know what? Golly day. You guys make me do this. You guys make me do this. This is your fault. I'm gonna max her just because of you guys. Because again, I would keep her like this. 5335. I'm done. Good to go. I've got the debuff and I've got the skill damage. That's really 90% of the value here. Because again, if you're not rallying a city, this second skill is completely useless. And then the third skill here, I've got, 66% of the debuff. Good to go. I don't want to do it. That's 310 sculptures. I'm going to keep them. This is where we're at. I'm going to test her like this. I have people who have her maxed. A few people in the alliance already that have her maxed. I'm going to test the pairings with this versus maxed. And then I'll also try and go after her on the MGE and try and get some more sculptures that way. I just can't... for 310 sculptures to get 10 extra defense reduction and 10 increased counterattack damage, 10 extra increased attack, and reducing 10% attack. I mean, it's a lot of stat stuff. I mean, it is. But for 310 universal sculptures, I don't know if that's worth it. I'm going to stop. This isn't a maxing video. This isn't any video at all. This isn't a Commander Mastery Guide, and it's not a maxing video. It's a... Holy crap, Tomyris just got on the radar for me, and I got her to 5335. All right. I mean, that's where... Enjoy the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one. Take care.